phone interview was just a preliminary step to make sure a candidate was qualified before scheduling them for an in-person interview. However, with cost rising and more qualified candidates on the loose, phone interviews are becoming much more important and in-depth. I'm Paula Rutledge, president of Legacy MedSearch, an executive search firm working exclusively in emerging medical technology, and today we're going to talk about how to handle a phone interview. With the unemployment rate rising and more equally qualified candidates coming my way, I can afford to be selective in who I choose to develop and present to our clients. Oftentimes, after getting your basic information, every phone interview that involves a client will involve specific questions. I'd like to make sure that you're prepared to answer those questions that might have in the past been reserved for second or third round interviews. Phone interviews are a great way to save on costs, so don't mistake a serious phone interview for a quick preliminary screening call. The client company may be using a phone interview in lieu of what would have normally been a personal interview, but they can be equally important in this environment. That said, make sure that you prepare for a phone interview just as rigorously as you would a personal one. There's always ways to improve your answers, such as asking yourself what the company wants and why, and then crafting your answers around those facts. For example, when asked about your experience, you may want to ask how much experience is required and at what level, because often time spent doesn't equate to the experience level. So make sure you understand what it is they're asking in terms of your experience level. Another thing that trips up many candidates is trying to concoct their answers on the fly. Don't be one of those people. Try to imagine what the general path of the conversation flow will be. For instance, you know there's going to be certain questions that get asked in every interview, so it wouldn't hurt to go ahead and craft specific, targeted answers to those questions so that you're prepared when they come. Here's some very typical questions that you might be asked. What do you know about our company? Why do you want the job? What are your greatest strengths and weaknesses? What are your career goals? How do you see yourself fitting into our company? Those are pretty basic. But make sure to take into account what the company is looking for using the job description or other information so that you can prepare your answers. Now, also in a phone interview, be careful of giving long-winded answers that dance around the questions. The more you talk, the less you can sound like you know what you're saying. But when you're confident, you don't need to drone on and on. Remember, it's a phone conversation, a conversation. So don't interrupt the interviewer before they finish asking the question or speaking. That's rude and disrespectful, and it may appear that you're too well rehearsed. Last, but certainly not least, brush up on your phone etiquette. I've had candidates put me on hold to answer other calls, tend to their children, and I even had a candidate not long ago who was at dinner with his family while interviewing with me. I could hear the waiter taking orders in the background. So follow these simple pieces of advice, and you'll be in the final round of interviews before you know it. There's a whole lot more tips on our forum, Medical Device Guru, specifically to different types of phone interview questions. So don't forget to check that out at www.medicaldeviceguru.com or our website at www.legacymedsearch.com. I'm Paula Rutledge. Thanks for joining us.